All right, we are live. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Getting Real. This is a show where we get vulnerable, honest, and most importantly, real about building wealth, about creating impact, and living life on your terms. And today's episode is a very special one. It's not just an interview, it's a real conversation, one that's going to touch your heart and inspire you to choose fun and joy no matter what is going on in your business or your life. And who
And
better to
bliss.
dive deep, yes, into this conversation more than my soul sister in bliss, Moneeka Sawyer. Moneeka is known as the Blissful Millionaire. And today we're chatting about how we can choose bliss, joy, fun, even when things are tough, and how that can actually lead to greater success. So, Moneeka, I am so excited to have this conversation with you. Welcome.
Me too. Thank you for just to let everybody know, I called Monique and I was like, we need to talk about this because this is so good. So just thank you for being a yes, and thank you for sharing me with your audience too.
Yeah, and share with everybody why you thought this conversation was so important to have. Why'd you call?
So I have a podcast called Real Estate Investing for Women. And we really focus on being blissful investors. So we want to build lots of wealth, massive wealth, but we want to do it in a blissful way. So we talk a lot about building wealth. It's very similar to you, which is why we get along so well. So the bliss piece is a very, very large part of what has made my business what it is. And over the last few years, there have been challenges, right? So in 2023, I probably had the toughest business year of my 32 years in real estate. And I was fortunate in that it ended on December 29th of 2023. And so then I went into 2024 with the intention for recovery and like, what's next? I also know that you had a very challenging year in 2023 for your own reasons in your business. And I watched you as you and I together stepped into 2024, and both of us went into the what's next phase. And I was so inspired by the choices that you made and how you helped me too to be more blissful, even though this is like the thing that I do and teach and practice. Still, you inspired me so much to try some new different things. And so I wanted to talk to you today about those things that I have now added into my arsenal. And kind of you and I share together how this helped us to build our businesses further in the next year or two that we've been going through, you know?
Yeah, love it. I'm so excited to have this conversation. And I think I've shared some of what I've been doing around fun, specifically my fun challenge in this on the show. But let's go deep because it's not like sometimes I think often reaching for joy or bliss or fun, especially in our culture, both in the US, it can seem frivolous, unimportant. It's like, no, you got to hustle, you got to grind, you got to muscle through, you've got to, it's like Puritan work ethic, right? You've got to struggle.
Exactly.
Like, more the struggle, the better. And if it's too easy or too fun, it's not, that's childish or, that's like, there's this whole, like, it can be kind of taboo. It can be, and it feels sometimes revolutionary to do that, to reach for pleasure, to reach for joy, to reach for fun, especially when things are, serious and difficult and challenging. But I think that's when it's most important and most makes a difference. And that's also, I think, part of the feminine is to move through with pleasure, as opposed to through like trying to muscle through. So let's get deep. Where do you want to start?
Yeah. So for me, I have practices that I have implemented into my life that integrate bliss and joy into every single day. No matter how bad the day is, I've got these practices. I walk the dog and watch his goofy little tail and allow it to make me laugh. Right? I meditate. I make eye contact with my husband. I connect with women each day that inspire and uplift me. I watch motivational videos. So I've got all of these, not motivational, but like inspiration first thing in the morning. So I've got practices that are part of my life that keep me uplifted.
I
And
call
I
those
invite
the
you to
bliss
do that.
disciplines.
Those
Those
are
are
the
your
blissciplines. That's
those are
exactly
your
right.
bliss disciplines. Yes.
That's
So
right. Some
yeah.
of the other big blissciplines that I'm privileged to be able to do is I go on really great vacations with my husband. He and I have been to like 70 countries together. We've only been married for 30 years, but that's our thing. We go out to nice fine dining, right? So there's things that we really enjoy together. So there's the day-to-day and then there's the big picture. What was interesting that happened in 2023, and there was a buildup. It wasn't just 2023, but there was a 13-year buildup to this like ultimate climactic, what heck happened here. Um, what I realized is that there was all of these things that I'd integrated to my life that kept me uplifted. But now when I was in a situation that was really pulling me down, really bothering me, really challenging me, I continued to do all of those things, and thank God, because it kept me resourceful, creative. It helped me to get through the problems. I got to be a hero again and fix everything. We came out ahead. I made choices based on my integrity and my values rather than what was easy, right? So I did all the right things, and I think that had to do with my practices. But the thing is, I lost the fun and I lost the joy, even though there was all of these things that kept me uplifted and kept me going and kept me creative. By the time I got to January of 2024, I was exhausted. I literally slept for 2 months. And like I would get up for meals. I didn't even go for walks with my husband in the morning during that time. Like I really kind of went down, and it was a privilege. Like I had set up my business that way. I knew that that was important. As a bliss coach, that's what I would tell myself to do, like take the rest that you need, right? So it was a privilege and a gift that I could do that. But when I woke up again and re-entered life, I had my practices. So I still smiled. I was still a joyful person, but I couldn't find the fun. I couldn't really like step back into the playfulness of life that makes everything feel so worthwhile. I did a lot of healthcare, went to a lot of coaches. Monique, you and I talked quite a lot, right? So I did all of those things. But in August, I think it was August, you and I had a conversation that completely changed everything for me. You did what I call a fun interrupt, where you just decided that you were going to have this intention that every day you were going to actually interrupt your day. This wasn't a part of the plan. This wasn't the program. Wasn't your schedule. You were going to actually interrupt your day to insert fun. And I loved that. I got to be a part of that. Like we actually got to play together, right? So you were doing that towards your birthday, I know, and then you decided, okay, we're just going to go and we're going to do this for a year. And so I know I don't post very much. You started a Facebook group, and I know you'll talk about that. I don't post very much, but I'm doing it every day, and I'm inspired by you every day. And so I just, me, I've been studying this for 30 years, like this mindset of bliss. And we all need community to support us, right? We all need community to inspire us, to help us to see our blind spots, all of those things. And I'm so grateful to you for being that for me. And I just want to talk about how you got there, what it was that inspired you to do that, to keep it going, It's not easy. I mean, I will say, trying to be playful and fun every day can be exhausting in its own right, right? Because it's
Not always
another
easy.
thing to focus on, right? But it's so worth it, and it's so fun, and it gives you joy, and it gives you a reason, like, "What do I get to do today?" Right? To be creative for fun. So I wanted you sorry, I just completely that was a long, long, long explanation, but that's really what I wanted to hear today is what inspired you to do that and to keep moving forward with that?
Yeah, great question. So this is March of 2024, and I am at a conference, Enterprising Women Conference in Orlando. And I brought my daughter because they also have a young enterprising women, one focused on like high school girls in STEM, which she is. So I had brought her, and we're sitting at a table with somebody else, and I'm talking about the fact that I'm going to be having a somehow it came up that I was going to have a milestone birthday in like that in October. So that year was going to be this birthday. And this lady and my daughter were like, "Well, what are you going to do for fun? Well, what are you going to do for your birthday? How are you going to celebrate it? What are you going to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Well, before my previous birthday, and I'm not saying the number because I'm just 35 forever. Let's just say that. But the previous big birthday, I did 40 days of outrageousness. And I thought, that was really fun. So maybe I'll do 50 days of fun. 50 days of fun. I mean, so when I looked at the calendar, it said August 13th. That's when it starts. That's 50 days before my October 1st birthday. So I'll just do 50 days of fun. I'll share it. I share it on Facebook just to have that accountability around it. And so it began. And so every day, it's like, what can I do for fun? Some days it would be late at night, and I'm like, oh, I have to have my fun. What am I going to do? There would be little things, big things. There were trips. There were, some of them were silly, some were creative. So it's just, it ran the gamut. But every day, I did something fun. And then my birthday hit, and I actually spent my birthday. I was in Mexico with my husband, and I realized, this has been so profound. I doing this thing, and when I was focused on outrageousness the previous time, it wasn't, for some reason, it didn't have the same vibrational like resonance. It was great, but there was something that happened this time with these 50 days. I fell deeply, deeply in love with my life. I found so much gratitude. And I saw all the richness that I had, the people that my family, my friends, this beautiful world. So it just really tuned me into, the abundance and richness I have in my life. And it was very powerful and very profound. And I decided I didn't want to stop. So I said, you know what? I'm going to just do a whole year. We're at 50. Let's go. 365. Let's do it. So I've kept going. Today, I think is day 232. And I just have continued on this journey. And it's been very, very powerful and very fun. And I think at 50, I invited others to join me if they wanted to. I said, I'm going to be doing this. I think it's awesome. So please come and join. We're going to do monthly challenges. Do each month or do the year. Do what you want. I created it's a private Facebook group. It's called Fabulous Fun Trip Around the Sun. So it's not, if you find it, you can request to join. And play along. All are welcome. And then the more people having fun in the world, I think the better. But and like you, I had my disciplines. And I had pleasure practices. Um, but there is something different about
About fun.
fun
Yeah.
that is not,
There's something different
it's
about
not quite the
fun.
same. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So in 2024, early in the year, I went to Africa. That's one of my disciplines is we do these really awesome trips. At least once in a year, my husband and I have this big adventure. We went to Africa, and I actually gave a talk soon after that was Africa ruined my life because I had so much fun and I was so like in tune with nature, and I was doing something that was so close to my heart, so aligned to who I am. And I realized that I was not looking forward to going home, that there wasn't enough fun at home to attract me back.
Mm.
And that's when I came home and I did this 2 month of sleeping because I was like, oh my gosh, and so when you talk about fun, it's so important because pleasure, our disciplines, staying uplifted, all of those things are a way of life. They're a way of being and showing up in the world. They help us in our relationships, they help us in our businesses, they make us who we are, they make us happy to look at ourselves in the mirror. They're all really, really good. But they're not the fun. The fun is its own thing. And it's that fun that brings us back, that makes us, like gratitude is one of my disciplines. And having the fun makes it so much more natural. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because you become more grateful for life when it is more fun. That's just kind of the way that it is. And fun's not a word that we talk about in our society, like you were saying, Monique, right? That people think it's frivolous. I've been called all kinds of really interesting names, like a hedonist. I don't know if you've ever been called that. I'm like, do you know what that even means? But
I haven't. I don't think I've been living enough.
right? I'm like, what? Because
I'm like,
there's
what do I
such a
need
big
to do for people to
what?
call me a hedonist?
Right? Yeah. But for me, the focus, even though I call it bliss, for so long, the focus really was fun. And I lost that. Like I didn't lose my desire, but I lost my capacity to search for that in a way. Like it got lost in the shuffle. And so
Mm,
it's been so good to have you remind me, oh, yeah, that thing, that's really important. And that's
yeah.
what makes us so excited to wake up in the morning. And that's what brings us back home when we're away, or inspires us to have this big adventure of life, right? And do all the amazing things that we can and want to do, but having fun through all of it, you know?
Yeah. It reminds me because I've had several I've gone to Mexico, Italy, England, these during this past 232 days. So I've had those trips as well. And I think that with the fun, it's made and looking for being very conscious about, oh, I have to do something fun today,
Fun.
right?
Yeah.
Specifically, right? It's helped me almost be like a tourist in my own city.
Mhm.
Because as I'm looking for adventure, as I'm looking for play, so got some of a couple of the days have been to do like touristy things in LA. I went to the Man's Chinese Theater and I put my hands in the, like did the handprints and the footprints, and I just went by myself and I did the super touristy LA thing. And I've done some other things like that where I go, it's helped me to see the familiar and unfamiliar ways.
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes it's even finding the fun just with my family, with my kids. Recently played this game, high, low, buffalo, where it's asking them, okay, what's a high that you've had? What's a low or challenge? What's a buffalo, something random or funny? And we all went around and we shared. And it got us like really deep. And Teo, my son, was like, this was really fun. We need to do this more. We need to have conversations like this more. And because I'm looking for fun, it deepens and makes what you might take for granted, what I was often taking for granted. It's helped me to mine it for what's special.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I had a conversation with another girlfriend of mine recently, and she's like, yeah, sometimes I've been having a really bad day, and then I look up and I see a rainbow, and I'm like, oh, a rainbow, and then she goes back into her bad day, but it uplifted her just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And my thing to her was, kudos to you for looking for the rainbow, because there are a lot of people that were driving down the street having a bad day that didn't look at the rainbow or didn't allow themselves to get affected by the beauty or the pleasure that could provide, right? So having this intention of, I'm going to look for things that are going to uplift me, that's something that I do very naturally. But the intention to look for something that I could do that's really fun, I've just kind of taken for granted that my life is fun. Well, sometimes it's not. And so that that intention to look for it, to not take everything around us for granted, to look for the unexpected in what we think is expected, right? All of those fun little things, that new intention can add so much playfulness and joy and newness, I think, to life,
Yeah. And I want to I'm going to ask you, because part of the conversation you said you wanted to have was about how and why we want to do this when things are tough.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
when life happens, when things seem to be falling apart, right now, there's a lot. I mean, some people are happy with what's happening in our government. Other people are thinking that the sky is falling, and and there's so much angst. And so sometimes it feels really, really revolutionary for me to be reaching for fun in the
Mhm.
middle of that, right? And to be
Mhm.
posting as opposed to like, oh my God, the sky is falling. But you know what I did? I made a blanket fort.
Yeah. Oh my God, I
And
loved that.
I did too. It was so fun. Anyway, but it's like this is what I'm posting, right? This is what I'm sharing about. And it's silly, and it's but let's talk to me about your thoughts around like reaching for the joy, reaching for the bliss, reaching for the fun when things are really tough.
Yeah. So there's a lot that happens in the world that we can't control. We can't control the government and what's going on right now. We just can't. Things happen to us frequently that we can't control. I live in Midtown Sacramento, and there are homeless people everywhere. And when I first moved here, every single time I would see one, I would it just completely broke my heart. Right. And I don't want to say that I've desensitized to that, because I never want to. But one of the things that I can say to myself is, I can't, I can't get rid of homelessness. That's not something that I have any control over. But I can be kind to this person, and I can donate to that group. And I can't. So there are things that I can do, even in a situation that I have no control over. Right. And I think that that's true when we look at fun. That's the thing that we can do. Like, no matter what is going on out there in the world, we can do something that's fun. And honestly, like, several times I've posted in your group and I felt guilty, Monique. Like, oh my God, I'm having fun. This is a really bad day, and blah, 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 blah. I know, but I'm having fun. I feel a little guilty. But that's the thing, is there's no reason to feel guilty, because you're making a choice to uplift your own life in a way that makes you more present in all the things that you can do to improve your life and the world. Right? So I
Yeah.
think for me, reaching for fun is that making the choice to do what you can do.
And you're also uplifting right? Others around you, in the sharing of it, in the
Mhm.
energy you bring. So I try to invite people to come play with me as much as possible. Um, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and then I'll go out and have fun by myself, and that's all good too. But I know that, what do they say? Happy wife, happy life. Or if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And I know that, like, taking the time to make myself happy and tap into my own fun and pleasure, um, that that helps others. And I know that my hopefully, as I invite other people to fun, then it uplifts them and their lives. And my kids are seeing my fun, especially the first 50 days. Allie was really helpful. Like, she created a chat GPT list of things we could do for fun. So it's like, okay, I have to do this fun thing. And even though she might not have, it wouldn't have been her first instinct to go and do it. She's like, okay, okay, all right, let's go do your fun thing. Right? So it just it
Yeah.
allows us to spread the joy. But I also think that in tough times, right, when things are challenging, there's like where do we put our focus? Where do we put our
Mhm.
focus? And we can focus on, oh my gosh, the sky's falling, everything is horrible. Or as you said, we can focus on what we can control, and we can focus on what there is around us that we can be grateful for. We can focus on, finding the fun in and the play in all of it, that, like, despite it. And I think that when we are in a challenging time, like, reaching for fun retrains our brain. As you said, it's like a fun interrupt. It's a pattern interrupt, because
Mhm.
I can find myself kind of stuck in the negative spiral. And it's like, oh, I'm never going to get it. Right. And you just like, you're stuck in it. But when you do like, when you interrupt that pattern, that spiral, and focus on something else, focus on what can I do for fun, focus on play, focus, oh wow, I have all of this opportunities, all these wonderful things that are in my life. It completely transforms what you do. And then I come back to my problem so much more creative, so much more
Mhm.
resourceful. um,
Absolutely.
Gets me unstuck and able to think more clearly, creatively. So I've found a lot of value in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of what happened for me, which is why I went through such a big burnout, was that I hadn't interjected enough fun. Like, I had interjected what was needed, but I didn't take that extra step to find the fun even through all the drama of what was going wrong. You know, um, it was really fascinating for me, when the magic happened for me through this year of trauma, let's just call it that. Um, I had been pushing and pushing and pushing. I was doing it the masculine way, right? I was pushing, I was active, I was solving problems, I was, calling the right people, and I was doing all of the things that needed to be done. I mean, granted, they actually did need to be done, but I was doing it in that very masculine pushing way. I was still doing my disciplines, but I will say that was not very fun for me, that whole process. And then I went on a vacation. I'm trying to remember what it was that I did. I think it was David. We went on a vacation for our wedding anniversary, I think. And so that's in August. And I remember thinking, you know what? This isn't working. I'm just going to let it go. Like, I'm not going to think about it. We're not, it's off limits as far as being topic at the table for dinner or for the whole weekend. We're not
Mhm.
talking about this. We're not thinking about this. It was actually 5 days. We're not going to do anything about this. I need to just let it go. And we did that, which is really, really hard. But we did that. And when I came back, it was fascinating because I was so much more grounded. I was so much more relaxed, and we had had so much fun. So I was so much more joyful. And I started calling people again. But now I was in this joyful place. When I called them, I was giggling. We had good conversations. It was like, how are you doing? Rather than what's going on with this thing. Even the openings of the conversations were kinder and funner and sweeter. And literally within a week, like I think it was 5 days, we had a solution to the problem. Now it still took 5 months to iron it out and make it work. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when we are in fun, when we allow ourselves to do this interrupt, as women, we also become much more attractive to the solution. So I often say that I am the boots on the ground for God, which is, that sort of, we're like, that pushing isn't necessary for us women. We can attract what is good and right and, possible solutions. And then we can move with grace towards making those things happen or not, weeding them out, going to the next thing, right? But it all can happen with that sense of attraction, which happens much more when a woman is in this feeling of play and joy. We attract so much more. And we're able to affect other people through the conversations that start with how are you rather than what's going on with that loan, right? The way that we react and interact to people and to solutions and to possibilities is going to be completely different. Literally everything turned around, and so counterintuitive. Do a weekend away where you don't talk about it, you don't mull about it, you don't put the intention that a solution will come, you don't tell your subconscious mind to work on this. I did none of that stuff. I was just like, you know what? I'm done. This is out of my brain, out of my space, out of my conversation. It's gone. I'm just gone. And I'm going to have fun. And that fun interrupt changed everything. Right.
Yeah.
And what if I had been doing that the whole time? Might we have found a solution sooner? Maybe. But would I have gone through this incredible burnout that I went through? Probably not. Like I probably would have had a much easier time of it if I had focused on doing a few more of those fun interrupts.
I think as, with the fun and pleasure, we are attractive to our solutions. And when we're in the, oh my God, where's then we can be repellent to it.
Yeah. So exactly.
Right. We're going to do a quick fire joy round. Okay. I have some questions.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Then we'll do our Trinity and wrap up. So what's one thing that always brings you joy?
My husband's smile.
Oh, love that. Yeah. What's your favorite bliss boosting morning ritual?
Going for a lovely walk to coffee with my dog and my husband, and just like having that time. So just walking, going to coffee, relaxing, taking some us time.
Love that. And what's a book or quote you live by?
So many of them. I can't come up with one right off the top of my head. Sorry. Think of something.
I'm such a bibliophile. I love books so much, but I would have a hard
right off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
I think for me, and there are so many, but since we're talking about playing games, but the Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn is one of my favorite books.
One of the chapters in my book, Choose Bliss, is play is the way. So frequently I will just repeat that to myself. Play is the way, play is the way, play is the way.
Play is the way.
I love that. The way. Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you and I could talk for hours, but we're going to have to wrap up. So where can people find you, learn more about where you are, and just tap into your blissful wisdom? You did mention your book, but
yeah. So blissfulinvestor.com is a place to go. So you can be a blissful investor. You'll get to find out about all my books there. And I'll be posting. I post my podcast there. I'll post what's new, what's coming up. All of that stuff will be there. And you can also go to moneekasawyer.com. People have a it's easier to spell Blissful Investor, so you can find my name and then go to Moneeka Sawyer.
Moneeka is like me in the sense that we each have very oddly named names that are based off of Monique, right? Oddly spelled
It's just
names.
spelled weird. Yeah, it's just spelled weird. So
We spell our names weirdly, and
yeah,
that was part of what made me fall in love with her. So
yeah, but and then the other thing,
in real estate, and we both have weird, similar names, like
names exactly, and we have the same mission, like to help women, to empower them. Yeah, so much. But the other place that you can find me, and you guys should check this out, is at Monique's Facebook group, the Year of Fun or whatever. What is it again?
The Fabulous Fun Trip Around the Sun. Yeah,
exactly. So we can connect there too.
And we'll post a link to it if you want to.
Definitely.
Yeah, join us there. Have fun with us. All right. Yes. So let's close out with our Trinity, which is a brag, a gratitude, and a desire. What is one thing you are celebrating right now? What's your brag?
I just completed another screenplay that I think is really good. I'm super excited about it. So yeah, that's my brag. Yeah.
Awesome. And what's one thing you're grateful for?
I'm just grateful for this life. Like, seriously, I worry about so little and have so much. I can't even think of just one thing. I'm just so very grateful to be living this life.
Beautiful. And last but not least, what is one desire?
I want my screenplay to be picked up. I want to sell it. That's my desire. So if anybody listening knows producers or whatever, contact me. I want to sell my screenplay.
So shall your desire be, or so much better than you can ever imagine. Under grace and in perfect ways.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being the impetus for this fun conversation and for sharing your energy, your wisdom with us, your bliss. That was such a powerful conversation. And to our listeners, I want you to remember this. You do not have to choose between success and joy. You can have both. In fact, they must come together, because success without joy is not success, in my opinion. So when you choose joy, bliss, fun, success comes much more effortlessly. So, and if this episode spoke to your soul, please share it with a sister who needs it. And also please subscribe so you'll never miss another episode of Getting Real. And until next time, get real, stay real, and let joy and fun be your compass. Bye-bye.